Welcome back to Almost Above Average with your host, Chris McIntyre. We are thrilled to kick off Season 2 with an exciting premiere featuring a truly remarkable guest. This week, I am delighted to introduce J. Paul Horgan, a talented poet, songwriter, and comedian hailing from Virginia City, Nevada. On Almost Above Average, my mission is to shine a light on the experiences of some of the world's most fascinating individuals, offering insights that can enrich our listeners' lives while keeping them entertained. In this episode, JP takes us on a captivating journey through his creative world, sharing not only his poetry and song lyrics, but also the stories that inspired them. He reflects on his early influences, the artistic process, and the challenges he faces in the ever-evolving Reno music scene. We discuss his experiences in the entertainment industry and the complexities of promoting his music, and the vital role of friendships and support in his journey. JP also shares heartfelt anecdotes, including a tribute to a cherished friend, showcasing the power of creativity and connection. So whether you're an aspiring artist or simply someone who loves to explore the richness of human experience, this conversation is filled with inspiration and wisdom. Get ready to laugh, reflect, and enjoy the incredible journey of J. Paul Horgan. Now let's dive in.
First time ever.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you great.
Oh my God, the first time we try it, you're on and rolling.
Just a minute, let me get a shot of this. I just ran across the street and fed 4 or 5 stray cats, unloaded the car, ran up and down the street, and here I am, and my God, it's working.
I'm excited. That's very, very good. So how are you, JP O'Horgan?
I'm all right, Mr. Chris. It's been forever since I've seen you. How are you doing? Can you see me okay?
It's been about a year exactly, because that's when I was down in Nevada visiting my dad before he passed.
Seems like 10. I live 3 days at a time compared to most people. I really do. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
But
well, I'm really glad you decided that you gave me the opportunity to do this. I'm glad we could finally make it happen after a year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in shock. This'll, I suppose that pod is, I still can't hear anything. I got cotton in my ears to keep the cold wind from blowing in when I was running back and forth. I suppose this is pretty much like doing radio, is it not?
I suppose, except for the difference between this and radio is that I get to edit it and leave in what I want and take out what I want.
Well, I did 50 or 60 radio shows down in Reno, across from trying to think of the name of the casino. Anyway, Old Town Mall, across from the Atlantis Casino. In the middle of Old Town Mall is a plexiglass radio station. A guy that was friends of mine years ago, he put it in years and years gone by. And I did 50 or 60 shows on that, 42 minutes. Once Christy, that you met today, he would edit them as soon as I get done with them. And he'd take them from a full hour down to 40 minutes. He'd eliminate all the commercials that my MC would put in. So we did those. Yeah, we did those every Friday for months and months. I'm going to say 50, maybe 60 of them. If you check on my website, you'll have, I think it's 13 of them you can access real easily. And they're totally original stuff.
That's awesome. Well, before we get into that, so you are the world-renowned, one of the biggest, hardest-working comedians, songwriters, poets that I've ever met. So who are you?
Man, what a compliment. I started writing, Chris, I started writing when I was 4 years old. I wrote my first song. I remember I'm in my bedroom and across the hall's my sister's, and she was playing the radio one night, and I remember in the dream, I remember stuff like that playing. And I remember sitting there, and the day was over, and I'm sitting on my bed, and I was into collecting stuffed animals. Well, I am again. I guess I've gone full circle, But anyway, I remember thinking, I've got massive. My downstairs bedroom is over-occupied. Most of them antique. So I got some pretty cool ones.
Oh, yeah?
And doing kids' books,
Nice.
I figured I'll use pictures of these antique stuffed animals. I probably got 40 of them or something for at least my first kids' book. So anyway, there I am that night. I'm 4 years old, and I thought I can do that. And I grabbed I remember I grabbed a coloring book, and the back cover was all blank. And I grabbed a black crayon, and I started writing lyrics while In the Jungle is play or Runaway, run, 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 run away. One of them was playing in the background, my sister's bedroom. So I got the lyrics down to a song, and I thought, damn, I have the music playing in my head. How do I capture this? And I thought, well, that's easy. Da 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 do 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 da 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 do do. And I started going do's and da's. And I don't know how long it took, but a while later I went, there it is. And I sang the words to the da 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 da, the tune, and that was my first song, believe it or not.
Was In the Jungle by Billy Joel?
No. My own song, but I was inspired by what the music that was coming from my sister's room through the closed door across the hallway. Because she would play, and I mean,
remember the song that you wrote at 4 years old?
No, I've had people ask me, "Do you still have a copy of that?" And I go, "You know what? I give damn near anything to have a copy of that." No, I don't. The house burned down.
The original right there.
Oh yeah. About a year later, the house burned down. And that's another whole story that we don't need to go into, right? But at any rate, that's when I started writing. And I did massive work over in Oregon, probably 20 years ago now. I did a lot of writing in Oregon. And I'm kind of an on-site composer. I don't do well. If you put me in an apartment and it's all drywall, my pen will mostly stand still. But this place that I'm in, behind me right now, this is my writing studio, and it's a 2-story 1859 miner's shack. And I get really prolific here because of the vintage of the place. It inspires me. And it's got really good vibes, and there's no ghosts like some of these joints up here in Virginia City. No, there's no ghosts.
There's no ghosts over there. I've been to Virginia City a time or two.
Well, you know what? I smelled perfume down in the kitchen. This is a 2-story with a really steep stairway. It keeps me fit and thin. So I smelled perfume down there twice. Twice I've smelled perfume down there. And it's weird because I'll go, that's the prettiest perfume I've ever smelled. When it leaves a few minutes later, it's just like somebody draws a curtain. It's gone. It's just gone. It's as if maybe some lady that used to live here walks through and keeps going. But that's the only thing I've never seen anything in this. So 1859, this shack. And I'm right straight across, catty corner from the jerky company. I'm right across the street.
Right.
So, this has been a really, really good environment. And I'm going to guess, between 20 and 30,000 pieces here. But I have a major collection down in Silver City. Friends of mine have kind of sponsored me throughout the years. And in their basement, there's 6 big travel bags. I'm not talking day pack. And they're full. Probably 6,000 notebooks this size. 6,000. That every page, they're 80-page books, and they're all done. They're in safekeeping because
what are you writing about that much?
You name it.
How much new stuff do you get?
You name it.
Yeah? Everything?
Just about any subject that you can come up with, but I don't do off color. It's just when when I'm doing stand up. I just did 2 major stand up shows in the last little over a month.
Mhm.
One at the Nashville Social Club, it's the nightclub in Carson City. I took the stage there and I knocked the other 4 comedians on their asses that they weren't good. And then I did Piper's Opera House the following Saturday. And that was pretty much standing room only. 4 more comedians that they didn't do well. I did. So I got a couple really good references there. And I'd done a lot of shows downtown Reno, what used to be the Pioneer Underground. A friend of mine owns Reno Tahoe Comedy, and he'll call me up and tell me, can you be wherever tonight? And you're going to lead in. And he always brings me out as the warm up. I'm the lead in, the first comic on stage. But I did that venue with him and other comedians for 2.5 years up till the virus. When the virus came in, it shut him down. Like it did. Most of the comedy clubs went down with the pandemic.
Yeah.
So anyway, he calls me and he'll say, do you want to do Piper, this Friday night? And why not? And I'll go up. But he always has me lead in. I don't really know why. But I do, stuff like I'm down the end of the boardwalk here about 2 years ago, and some wannabe cowboy wearing 15,000 worth of cowboy boots and stuff. He's never had poop on his boots, but he goes, oh, Jim, JP, watch this. And he starts spinning his revolvers, and I back up, and he spins them again, and I back up, and sure as hell, he blows his toe off. Now I got to stop everything I'm doing and call him a tow truck. So the big yellow AAA truck shows up. When the AAA truck shows up, I have a cup of ice water with the remains of his toe in it, and I hand it to the driver, and we throw him in the back of the truck. Kurt, I think was his name. No one's seen him since then. So I hate it when people are flipping they blow their toes off, because, you got to stop, call them a tow truck, and it's a big hassle, So anyway, that's the one that I started.
They don't have insurance for
I started that one.
Okay, so you started at 4 years old writing song lyrics, listening to Billy Joel's In the Jungle. So you're 4 years old. You start writing then.
No, this wasn't Billy Joel. This was 1956.
No, I know, but you were inspired. You were inspired by it, right?
By that song, yeah, but it was the, God, I know the name of the band. Oh, man, I can't say it. The Cadets or something. In the Jungle. At any rate, it was 1956 that song originally came out, way before Billy Joel. Billy Joel wasn't even in diapers when that song came out.
Okay, I did not know that.
Oh, Del Shannon. When Del Shannon, look up Del Shannon, Runaway. It's a killer, great oldies song. Del Shannon, Runaway. That's the era when I started writing.
Here, let's look at it.
Killer, great song. Del Shannon, Runaway.
As I walk along, I wonder. Is that your style right there?
I didn't hear you.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen to that. Listen to a little more of it. It's killer good.
Together, while our hearts were young, I'm walking in the rain. Tears are falling out,
feel the pain. We're here by me.
Oh, man.
I wonder.
Isn't that great?
Why?
That is great. I actually really love that. Hopefully I don't get... I hope they don't mute this video when I post it on YouTube for playing that. It's okay. I'll deal with it.
Anyway,
Sometimes
during
if you
that era...
on the podcast after you post it, they'll copyright you and they'll they'll silence the video so you can't hear it.
Another one I was going to tell you, I found out reading John Belushi right after he passed away. I read his autobiography, and about in the middle of that book, they said John Belushi was born about 1:30 in the morning, the 27th of January. It was a Tuesday, 1952. And I went, you gotta be kidding me. I was born at 1:30 in the morning, January 27th, 1952. The same time, the same day, the same year as Belushi. That blew me away. Yeah. Same hour, same day, same year.
Cool.
Yeah, it was really neat. I'm reading this biography, and I was like, wow, man. Not only the same day, the same hour, 1:30 in the morning. So anyway, enough brag.
Well, we've established that you're a writer and a poet. What instruments do you play, and how did you get into playing
music? I play guitar, I play congos, I play a little bit of harp, harmonica. What else? I play a couple other things. I tried the Irish drum, I really like those. And my buddy had one over at the church. Yeah. He lived there for a couple of months. Every time I picked it up, I had another group come in that I had to entertain and tour through there. I really never got enough time to spend the time I needed. You hook your hand behind those drums. They're really cool instruments, but I never got the time. I'm a guitarist, but I don't pride myself, I play guitar, because everyone plays guitar. That's just the way I look at it. I don't get much time to pick up a guitar and put chords to some of my songs, but I got a friend of mine that was with Monterey Community TV for 12, 15 years, and he is a phenomenal impersonator, keyboardist, guitarist, you name it. He can play anything, and he looks like what's his name? Sean Connery. He literally looks like Sean Connery with hair down to his belt. Sean Connery grew long hair one time when he did a movie, and it was about trying to find a cure for cancer in the Amazon. Do you remember that movie, Medicine Man? Well, Sean had gray hair.
Yeah, I don't remember that movie though.
Yeah, Medicine Man, Sean Connery.
I remember the title. I just don't remember. I don't remember watching it.
Well, Sean had gray hair to his shoulders when he did that movie. And that's the way my buddy James looks. They look very much alike. And he does an impersonation. I mean, he does 40-some impersonations, and he's right on target. I think his best is Jimmy Stewart. I do a little bit of this and that, but not a lot. He does massive. So he and I, lately, we've been meeting at his sister's where he lives. He's got the whole upstairs as a recording studio, and he's got all kind of instruments and all kind of equipment. And we've been putting music to some of my songs, my lyrics, lately. And I don't know why, but it's been taking us 12 minutes per song. The first song we tried, in 12 minutes, we recorded it on his phone and mine, and we had it. We had the tune, the perfect tune for it. I'm singing it, and we had it in 12 minutes. Well, we tried it a few weeks later with a different one, Pro America. I think it was Heartbeats. I've got copies of all those right here. And 12 minutes later, we had Heartbeats, a whole different thing. And it's not rap, it's not rock, it's not country. It's just real unique music to my lyrics. Then we did one called America, Where Are You? And a lot of people freaked out listening to me just read that. And I thought Trump would kill to get his hands on this one. It's a really good pro-America, but these pro-Americas, I got, I think, 9 of them. And there's no mention whatsoever of Democrat or Republican at all. That's what I love about them. There's no mention.
Right?
It's just strictly pro-America, not Republicans are this way and the Democrats are that, none of that garbage. Strictly pro-America. So we did those three, and they all have unique keyboard music to them that he's doing. He just yanks stuff out of the air and he goes, sing it. And I sing it and we both go, whoa, man. And he goes, we got to document it, got to record it right now. And we get a rough draft recording of it. The next time I see him, sometimes we'll work it a little more. We're running out of time. I don't have that much time to get to him because he's all the way in Carson City, and he doesn't come up here very often, but he's a phenomenal musician. Like I said, he was very well known in the Monterey, California area. So he and I have been buddies about close to 20 years, I guess, now. So we've been doing that. I don't have time to go out on my deck with one of my guitars, and I don't have time. If I'm not shoveling snow, I'm painting somebody's house. And, I painted, since you were there, I painted the barbecue place. I painted the church next door. I did a lot of restoration on it. But I'm getting, man, I'm not really, I don't consider myself old, but I'm getting tired of the hard labor. I really am. And here I am, if you could see, I'm surrounded by lyrics. I mean, totally surrounded. So I write, I
boxes filled up from when I was in my late teens to early 20s. I really started writing music like at 13.
Right on.
I didn't pick up a guitar until I was 20 years old.
Well, I grew up in Detroit, and I went to school with Glenn Frey. You know who I'm talking about? Glenn Frey.
I've heard the name.
You should.
Who is he? Was he in a band?
He was the lead singer of the Eagles.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Silly me.
The Eagles, I grew up with him. The Eagles were a garage band about a mile or so away from where I lived outside Detroit. And this was the era when Stevie Wonder was a kid. He was just coming to be. And Glenn Frey and the rest of the band, once they got it going, his voice changed overnight by like 2-3 octaves.
Okay.
Because I remember people used to say, Glenn, your guitar work, your guitar is great. Your voice sucks. Well, when he was about 17, I was a year younger. We're going to the same school. We knew each other pretty well. All of a sudden, overnight, his voice changed, and people went, son of a... And then they got together, and they went, what do we call ourselves? And they decided on the Eagles. The rest is history. He just died of cancer here about 2-3 years ago. Really bummed me out. But there was another one there named Mark. Detroit was just a jackpot of hit songs. When I was growing up there, everything that came out was another hit song. If it wasn't Aretha Franklin, it was Stevie Wonder, it was the Eagles, it was Aretha Franklin. It was just absolutely magic back then. Yeah. When I was in my teens, oh my God, man, it was just.
Yeah. Do you listen to any music from today?
And what? I didn't hear you.
Do you listen to any music from today?
I listen to a little bit, but I don't get a lot of time. I'm spending 2 to 3 hours every morning. Once I get woke up, I get 1 cup of coffee. I don't drink a lot of coffee. I'll drink 1 cup, medium strong. And I go into the zone, and all of a sudden I got an idea, and I just leave the world, grab my notebook, and when I'm done working my pen, I got a brand new song. And this is a little idea of what my handwriting is like, if you can see this. They all say, oh, you got the best handwriting. Well, this is the scribble I do for 2-3 hours every single morning, every morning. Unless I can't go into the zone. I never force songs and poems to come out. You don't force them. You let them give birth to themselves. And that's what I do every morning. Sometimes 2 or 3 in a morning, but that would be more like 4 hours.
Sounds like a spiritual practice.
It kind of is.
Spiritual practice for you. Like, I kind of use working out. I kind of go to the gym for that, and I meditate. But that sounds like something like you have to do.
I do some late afternoon meditation myself. I have a black lady that leads you through a meditation, and she sings while she's doing it, and it's phenomenal. It's really good. It's about breathing. I do that whenever I can. I just don't have that much time. And I'm getting real tired living here. One reason is because of the rat race, because now Reno, it's a whole different picture than when you lived here. Reno is just the whole Bay Area is trying to squeeze in there. Everybody wants out of California, and to rent a studio apartment in Reno can cost you $2,800 a month. It's crazy. It's crazy. If you can find one.
That's more expensive than it is out here.
It's the same thing with Carson City. Little tract homes together to the point, I'm not kidding you, Chris, you can shake hands with your neighbor through the bedroom window. You know, they're that close. $400,000, $500,000. So where you're at is an area. I've been everywhere, man. I literally have. I've been all over. But North Carolina and South Carolina are 2 states I've never been in. And I've always wanted. North Carolina has been a draw to me. I've always thought, I'll bet you I'd do good there. Now, Asheville? Is it Asheville that was just destroyed? I had a guy, doctor's office showed me a videos and stills on his phone of what happened to Asheville. And I was like, oh my God, man. I mean, that hurricane just wiped that town. I had people when I was down in Florida doing shows. I did a bunch of shows down in Florida as well. And I had people telling me that's where you belong. You got to go to Asheville. You will fit with Asheville. And now it's gone.
You actually would. I've never actually been there, but I've talked to enough people that live out here, and what they describe it to me as is like a very warm kind of hippie town. Kind of reminded me of like Haight and Ashbury. You know what I mean?
Very much music. Very musical place.
Yeah,
from what
like
they were
live
telling.
music on the streets all the time. Street performers everywhere.
Yeah.
I should go down there and just jam out for a little while. That would be awesome.
Maybe I'll fly down and we'll go down there together, man. I mean, I can fly around. I flew down to Branson about 2 years ago now. My buddy that you met today, Christy, he took me down to Reno Airport, and I went up in there, and I wound up coming down in little town over in Missouri. I'm trying to think. But at any rate, I wound up in Branson, and I spent most of the summer there trying to sell songs. They call Branson the new Nashville. Well, you know what? It's not. But they're way into music. And I ruffled some feathers there. There ain't no doubt. But I had a Mexican guy that a friend of mine turned me on to, and I thought I could trust him. That was a mistake because he was really trying to steal my songs. And we wound up, I went, hey, just give me back the songs of mine you have, or you got big problems if you don't, because I will go to where you work, to your boss, if you don't give me back my... I was dumb enough to hand him a handful of songs, really good ones, and he's trying to rip me off. So Branson wasn't good for me. I met a lot of people there, but I was there visiting a friend of mine and his wife, and they worked me to death on an old trailer park that they bought for cheap, and they were restoring it. Nobody had been in these places in 20 years. I mean, they were just solid moss and mildew and rot. And he had me working my ass off. I finally went, you know what? I'm freaking so out of here. I am so out of here. And I jumped the plane in Springfield. I jumped a plane in Springfield, flew back into Reno, and there was Christy, middle of the night, picking me up. I was really glad to get out of there. I thought these people were friends of mine. I knew them from over in Nevada City, Grass Valley. They weren't friends of mine at all. They were wannabe Christians to me. Maybe I'm wrong, but you know what? I mean, he just worked me to death, man. I mean, just worked me. And if I suggested anything, he'd damn near tell me, just shut up. I went, hey, I'm so freaking out of here, man. I'm done. So.
Yeah, that's not a friendly visit.
No. And to even get to Branson, we were 20 miles out in the hills. For me to get into Branson, I'd tell him, hey, I got to go there the day after tomorrow. I'm meeting with this guy. Well, I'll try to get you there. And I'm going, you can't try to get me there. I'm here to sell my damn songs, not to do hard labor for you. You got to get me there. And reluctantly, he'd get me there. Drop me off and say, I'll be back in an hour to pick you up. And I go, hey, an hour is not enough time. I need 2 hours with this. Well, I'll be there in an hour, like it or not. I mean, he's just a little jerk, little guy, I mean, he had me because I didn't have my car with me. I'm there with no car. If I had my car, I'd have flipped him off, got in the car, and just waved goodbye and come home. But I couldn't. He had me cornered like that. So.
Oh, man. I'm sorry to hear that. That sounds like a horrible
I maybe shouldn't even brought it up. It's over. It's over. I got people here that I think are my friends right here in this town. And you turn around, they just stab you in the back, man. It's hard to find really good people. And I meet a lot of when I do a concert and shit, I meet a lot of people. I really do. I know a lot of them. But as far as real friends, Christy that you kind of met today, he's probably the closest. But he'll only go so far. And he's computer genius, man, literally. He could help me a lot. Yeah. But he's busy too, He's working for a place called Computer Core. Yeah. He rebuilds their donated computers, and then they give them to churches and schools, and some of them they sell for $100. And, he gave me two of them. The one I'm on, he just gave me not that long ago. He gave me this Dell that I'm on right now. Yeah. So.
How did you meet? How did you end up meeting him?
I met him through the church. He's a minister as well as a computer. He keeps Computer Core alive, literally. And this is a big outfit. If he wasn't there, I don't think they'd still be in business. He keeps them going. He seriously does. I told him we need to get together. Oh, I don't have any time. And I said, well, then you need to make some damn time. And he was like, well, it's a big guy. This is a big guy. Maybe I could. What do you got? And I said, just let me entertain you. We'll go get coffee and I'll entertain you. And I just slammed out a whole bunch of my comedies, and we became friends. That's about 10 years ago, I guess, 7 or 8, 10. So anyway.
Yeah.
Dropping in on my old flame, I noticed things. Huh?
Yeah. Hey, have you ever been married?
No, I came within a heartbeat twice. Literally, really close to doing it. And then I sobered up and went, oh my God, what was I thinking? I write a lot of comedy about people getting hooked up with the wrong women. And then I tell people, I had a girlfriend until about a month ago, and she used to braid her armpit hair and tuck it into her belt. And I'm like, sweetie, Cindy, I can handle this. But if you're going to put the turquoise and the coral beads in your armpit hair that you're braiding, this is just not going to work. So once she started putting turquoise beads in the armpit hair to her waist, I went, no, this is just, And then she was getting kind of like a little shadow by evening, getting sort of a little bit of sideburns. Yeah.
What was her name again? What was her name?
I think it was Cindy. Hell, I don't know. I'm just throwing rotten apples out there. Might have been Lisa. I was after we got done this afternoon at the coffee shop, I was giving Christy a hard time, I told him, if you need to borrow, once I make a few $1,000,000, I'll lend you $100,000 so you can get a cabin for you and Dorothy. And I know damn well his wife's name is Betty. And he goes, well, I got the house for Betty, but yeah, Dorothy and I could use a hideaway cabin. And I said, well, we'll arrange that. Or what about Cindy? Well, Cindy and I only meet about once a month late at night. So he's got a good sense of humor after hanging around with me. He has to. He goes to my concerts and films me.
Yeah.
He'll film me he's got, $1,500 worth of phone. So anyway.
Hey, do you have social media accounts?
I got a bunch of stuff on YouTube, and I got all these radio shows, and then I got a bunch of stuff on YouTube.
What's your YouTube channel called?
Just a minute. 1 minute.
Let's look at it. Let's look at some of it for the guests or for the listeners. Let's see. Is it under JP Horgan?
Just a minute, and I'll tell you. Give me a second. Desert, born above the tree. Oh, here we go. Okay, yeah, it's up here. I mean, I got so many. I got about 30,000 pieces of work in this room. If you go to J. Paul.
I've heard fantastic things. I'm ready for you guys to experience them too. Please get real loud for our poetic comedian, J. Paul.
Oh, yeah. Is this at the Opera House?
There you go. That's Piper's.
It does look like you. Oh, Piper's Opera House, right?
Yeah.
Woo, how's Virginia City tonight?
Only standing room.
I finally made stage at Piper's. Actually, I worked here 25 years ago. They had me doing everything from painting the face of the building to just pretty much everything. I did all the tours that came my way and that sort of thing. We're going to start off with a couple little boardwalk things.
Boardwalk.
A friend of mine and I are outside the Bucket of Blood 2 years ago, and there's this dude, very much the dude, never had cow pies on his shoes type, and he's flipping the gun, and the more he flips it, the more I back up. And he's flipping, and I'm backing up. Sure as hell, he blew his toe off, and I had to stop everything I was doing with my buddy and call him a tow truck. So the big yellow AAA truck showed up, and we packed his toe in a glass of ice water and put the two of them in the truck, and we haven't seen him since. But this time last year, it was a nice night like it is tonight, and I thought, I'm out of my deck, and I thought, you know what? It's been forever since I did any streaking. Tonight's the night. I'm just going to do it. And it's 11:30, 12 at night. There's hardly any traffic. And so I go all the way down to Red High Heels.
Red High Heels, that's it.
And I'm heading down the boardwalk, and I decided I'm going to go as far as the roasting house right down here, and then I'll turn around. That's it. No traffic. Get with it. So I get down there, and as I turn around, I get my high heels stuck in cracks in the book. So I step out, and I'm running now. I finally get home, and I'm just ready to go through the gate. And a lady in a caddy pulls up, and the window goes, yeah. And she's going like, and I'm going, what? I'm trying to get through the gate. Now I got nothing at all. No high heels. So I walk over there, and she says, whatever it is you're wearing, you need to take it home and iron it. And then she burns rubber and she's gone. And I went, I will never, ever, ever streak as long as I live again. So just for this gentleman here, my next piece is my favorite piece, and it's generally my closing, but we're going to do it now.
This is by far my favorite.
On time tonight. I used to meet with a friend of mine named him Fat Jack. He was a refrigerator. Wasn't really fat. He was just big. And he became a father figure to me. We'd meet down in Carson every morning. And this one morning he looked at me and he said, JP, did I ever tell you I drove a yellow cab 20 years? downtown New York City, and it blew me against the booth. I went. And he stood up, and I'll never forget it. He went, "So help me God." And I went, I can't imagine the jokes, the stories and jokes. He says, uncountable. And I said, "Tell me your favorite." Quote unquote, he said, "Let me scratch my brain overnight. Come morning, I will tell you my favorite joke." A cabbie gets a drunk call downtown New York, drives over there, and the bartender says, "Down at the end of the bar, he just fell off his stool." So the cabbie goes, "Oh, dear God, you got to get me, or whatever. Okay, I'll take care of it." He's down there, and he's dragging the guy out, and he gets into the door, and he's got an armful of this. He can't get the door. He leans him against the wall, and down he goes. And at this point, he grabs his wallet, and he 134th Street. I know about where that is. That's a neighborhood of brownstones. So he gets him through, and he gets him in the back seat of the cab, shuts the door, walks around, he drives him over there, he gets him all the way up. Because brownstones generally have 8 or 10 steps. Now he's going for the buzzer. He's trying to reach, and he's like, so he leans him left of the door, down he goes. And at this point, with all that, he says, "You know what? To heck with it. Let him lay there. I just don't care at this point." He hits the buzzer, and a lady comes to the door, and he says, "Ma'am, as you can see, I'm with Yellow Cap. Does this guy belong here?" And she says, "Why, yes, he does, but where's his wheelchair?" That's what Jack left me years ago.
That's messed up.
He couldn't have left me a better present than that one. That's my favorite. That's just my favorite. So a friend of mine takes his 2 sons down the cafe. I think it was Wednesday, and the one of them, how old is he? Oh, yeah, he's 6. Let's see, he's 6. And the other one is 4.
4.
Sorry, 4. Waitress walks up, looks at the 6-year-old and says, "Hi, sweetie, what would you like today?" He pounds his fist on the table. Everything goes flying, and he says, "I want a damn cheeseburger." And his dad said, "You're going to get even more than your cheeseburger." Wham, he goes flying. So the waitress, to kind of recoup the situation, looks at the 4-year-old and says, "And what would you like?" And the 4-year-old says, "You can bet both your buns I don't want a damn cheeseburger." There you have it. Have a great night. Enjoy the show, and welcome to Virginia City.
Y'all go follow the poem painter on YouTube, J. Paul Horgan.
I don't know how much on there. Christy was, huh? I didn't hear you.
How did you get into comedy?
Oh, I don't know. When I was just grade school, probably. Way back.
Yeah, class clown kind of guy.
My latest, you want to hear my very latest? I just got this one. I added it to my repertoire. My repertoire is in the back of my brain. I'm down in Tucson years ago. I grew up in Tucson. When I left Detroit, I was only about 17. So I pretty much grew up in Tucson, and I'm down there years ago at a frat house party. And there's so many women there. Some of them are swinging from the chandeliers. They're just women everywhere. You know, it was a killer good party. But at about 1:30 in the morning, I looked over at my watch, and I went, you know, I've had my fill. Enough is enough. It's time to go to bed. And I had a room there. So I go, it's been a great party. See all you guys in the morning. I climb into the room, shut the door, and I jump into bed. And these women, they're in there, and here they are outside the door. They're beating on the door. And I'm laying there, and I rolled over, and they're going, and I went, no way. I'm going to sleep. I'm not going to, no way. They'll go away eventually, you know. In 20 minutes, they're not leaving. And I'm going, oh, God, I'm not getting out of bed. Anyway, they keep pounding and pounding on the door. Finally, I got up and let them out.
Oh, man.
I love the delay.
Killer joke.
I love the delay that you did. So, at any rate.
That's awesome.
You know why the tomato turned red? Why the tomato turned red?
Why is that?
Saw the salad dressing. Okay, we got one more. You ready?
That's silly, JP.
There's two guys
Right,
downtown London having dinner. And they get done. They walk out in front of the restaurant. And the one guy goes, Bill, where are you? Where are you? Oh, there you are. And he said, my God, where did this fog come from? Good grief, you can't even see the street. The fog's so thick. And he said, Bill, do you know London? No? Oh, man, what do we got? I don't neither. Well, right about then, up swaggers a general with a chest full of tin, and the guy says, hey, buddy, come here a minute. He said, damn, man. He says, as you can see, we're lost in the fog. Can you give us some directions? And the general goes, do you know who I am? And the guy looks at his friend. He says, oh, man, we're really in trouble now. We don't know where we are, and he doesn't know who the hell he is. And then the guy's on his way home at 5 in the morning. 5 in the morning, he gets pulled over, and he does the paperwork thing. You know, he hands the cop everything. The cop says, you're cool, no problem. He says, but where are you going at 5 a.m.? And he says, alcohol counseling. And the cop says, at 5 in the morning, you're going to alcohol counseling. He says, yeah, I'm stopping by my ex-wife's house on the way home.
Yeah. Yep.
So those are just... But my latest one with this ear thing, I told the doctor when he got done with me on the infected ear I'm having so much trouble with, I said, I'm going to leave you with this joke. About a year ago, my other ear closed up to where I couldn't hear a thing. So I go to the doctor and I told her, I said, I guess it's age. Hell, I don't know. But I can't hear a thing. And she said, well, hold on. And she grabs the probe, and she lights it up and looks in my ear. And then she backs up and she says, you have a suppository stuck in your ear. And I said, oh, no, that explains what happened to my new lost hearing aid.
Oh, man. That's good.
And a friend till last year at this time, we lost him. We lost a friend of mine that worked he was with Steve Miller Band for 10, 15 years. Bobby Winkleman, you can look him up on computer. And he and I were best of buddies. But, you know, I don't know. He loved that one with the hearing aid because he was constantly losing a hearing aid, you know, and I'd have to find him. I'd climb underneath his bed or underneath the dining room table. He had a couple Mexican girls for roommates. Great guy. And in fact, he and I did a song called Nothing Short of Heaven. It's done. It's literally done. We recorded it. And we lost him last year at this time. He died on us. But, you know, he loved that joke because he was always losing his hearing aids. You know, his ears were blown out from all the loud music with Steve Miller Band. You know, so.
What did he play in Steve Miller Band?
He was a guitarist. He was bass, lead guitar, and singer for Steve Miller for 10 or 15 years.
Oh, shit.
He had a bunch of gold records and all that, and we were best buddies, you know, and he was crazy about my lyrics. We did Nothing Short of Heaven. I got one copy of it left here. He gave me about 8 of them before he passed away, and they went. I sent one to my sister, and others went out to friends. I need to get some copies made. But I got one here I could play for you, not tonight, but sometime soon. It's a killer song, man. It really is. I'm in love with the women, big and small and in between. I like their ways and rhythm, if you know what I mean. They may be all from Jupiter or somewhere out in space, but nothing short of heaven can beat their warm embrace. From 8 to 80, without them here, this world would never spin. Without their loving company, there'd be no way to win. I'm in love with the women, big and small and in between. I like their ways and rhythm, if you know what I mean. Once again, they may be all from Jupiter or somewhere out in space, but nothing short of heaven can beat their warm embrace. Well, when we did that, he's doing the guitar work. Very simple guitar work. That's what I love about it. And I'm singing it. And we did it 80 times till he finally got tired. And I went, that's enough. Make it a cut. You know, I was about ready to strangle him. Oh, let's do it once more. I said, we've done it 87 times. So anyway, it's a killer song.
What's one more?
Huh?
Those lyrics are really, really good.
Well, I got it right here. I mean, it's him playing the guitar and me singing it, but he kept going, oh, it's not quite right yet. And I'm going, it can't be any better, Bobby. Let's end this. You know, I've been here 5 hours with the same song. I'm going to kill you if we play it once more. I'm going to punch the wall down. I'll tear the bedroom wall down into the backyard. We're done. You know, finally he went, well, that'll have to do. Yeah, he finally goes, well, that'll have to do. And I said, after 84 times, yeah, that'll have to do, Bobby. God. So we cut it. It's a good one. Everybody that's heard it calls it a hit song. I need a market for it. I don't have the right band for this song. It's a killer song.
Well, did you publish it? Is it already published?
It's as published as I could do. I was going to send it to Hank Williams Jr. because I had his connections and all that in Nashville, his company that sponsors him. And I wanted to send it to him. I thought that'll be a good fit for him, but I couldn't get it into his hands.
That would, but he takes in 1 million of those all the time. You should probably, have you got it on Spotify and on Apple iTunes?
No.
On YouTube Music?
No.
Those are where you want to market right now.
Well, I'm not the marketer. You know, I'm just not. I told Bobby he was the marketer for me till he died. I told him, I am not. I'm the creator. I'm the one that puts this together, man. Don't make me market. Most artists cannot market their work. In reality, there's 7 of them out of 100 that can write and market their own songs. 7 out of 100 of them. The rest of them, they're not wired for marketing. They're just not. He was my marketer and damn good at it, you know. But he was trying to get hold of Steve to introduce Steve to that song in particular, you know. But I got his recorder right here. I got a handheld recorder. This bitch is over $100. Here we go. This thing's killer good, man. It's a stereo. It's basically a pocket recorder, but it records in stereo. This is well over $100 worth of recorder. He wanted to part with it one day, and he wanted $40. I flipped him 220s, and you know, this is a great recorder. Most of the pocket recorders were $29, you know, or $19. This records in stereo.
Yeah.
And I even got separate speakers for it. Tonight I bought headphones with the mic, you know, the kind, brand new. They're right here in the box. I didn't even have time to pull them out because I wanted to get back with you. You know, I come flying in here doing everything at once. But I just bought those at Walmart tonight. They're not even out of the box, like I said. And I got a wireless mic, you know, clip on somewhere.
The next time we do this, you can play us some music.
That'd be fine. You got to hear this. You know, they may be all from Jupiter or somewhere out in space, but nothing short of heaven can beat their warm embrace.
Yeah, that's a really good line. I like that.
Well, I animate it too because I go big and small and in between. I like their ways and rhythm, if you know what I mean. It's a hit. I mean, everybody that's ever heard it, and I've played it for a number of people, but not people that can steal it. Because I wrote it in North Idaho years ago. The year 2000 is when I wrote that. And I went, that's not going anywhere. And I've had people, lend it to me and I'll try it. And I go, no, it's not going nowhere. It's not. That's no way. Unless I got, if I got Elton John, he's interested in it, it'll go to Elton John's door. But it's not going anywhere. And I never let it go. until I met Bobby. And Christy introduced us because Bobby went in to get some connectors for his computer at Computer Core where Christy works. And he just mentioned, he said, are you a, musician? Oh, I played with Steve Miller for 10, 15. He said, I got just the guy for you to meet. And he gave each of us, me his number and him mine. He's the one that got us together. So anyway, but we lost him right. I think it was right before Christmas, if I remember right, last year.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's sad.
I'll do one thing for you. Ready? Check this out. In closing. Ready? You ready?
Yep.
Online all the time. Dropping in on my old flame, I noticed things weren't quite the same. Seems she has a computer bug and's forgotten how to kiss and hug. With a computer in her office, a computer in her car, she even had one wired up upon the breakfast bar. The little hand upon the screen means more to her than mine, and as long as I got something called a mouse, she's doing fine. While she's online, I'm out of line to talk of life before computers and their software arrived at her front door. She traded our old Chevy we used to wash and wax for gizmos sent from IBM and something called a fax. If Lady Luck is on my side and I ever have a son, I hope he keeps his women off computers and maybe has some fun.
When did you write that?
20 years ago. It's never been published. I do that one for people when I meet the tourists. With the tourists up here, I'll pull that one out of the air because it's to memory. And I've only have so many to memory. Most of my stuff is, it's all in notebooks, but it's very readable. I don't scribble.
Right.
I get a lot of compliments on my handwriting. But I do very little computer work. I don't type unless I peck. I can peck type. I can do an email or two, but I'm not big on computer. I'm a person. Anyway, that one's called Online All the Time.
Well, at least you can you know how to do it now, so you can at least access this so we can do it again.
Oh, I do. The one I wrote a whole series on Bigfoot. And the first one I did on Bigfoot is called Furry Friends. Down along the river where the muskrats play and raccoons prowl the bushes at the close of day, a furry fella 6 or 7 feet in height wandered to my campfire on a misty night. He seemed to need some company, so I pulled up a chair. A gleam came to his eyes through all the long brown hair. He liked my campfire coffee. We drank a pot or two. Stories I heard of Bigfoot indeed were true. When morning came, he signaled me to follow him to a cave along the river where the beavers swim. The perfect place for solitude, far from any road. We sat on logs and laughed outside his small abode. When twilight came, his mate appeared in long red hair. Afraid of me. Yet soon she didn't seem to care. The river gave them water and the forest food. The lives they led were simple. Their home was crude. When came my time to leave, they shed tears for me. I said a prayer. They lived their lives both safe and free. I'd love to show you the pictures, but this story must do. Friends don't deserve to be locked up inside of someone's zoo. I have 8 more.
That was very good. Okay.
So when you want to get back together, when do you think we ought to get back together? Right now, it's been really tough on me, man. These last few weeks with this infection, it's like a bunch of needles going into my left ear, and tomorrow morning, the first thing I do is I'll get up and put 10 more drops in.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure. So this is the first recording of the second season of my podcast. I have another guest on Monday, so I got a bunch coming up. So as soon as I'm ready to record again, I'll reach back out to you. I'll give you a call.
So we did record part of this?
And then when I
we did record part of this evening?
I recorded everything.
Really? I didn't know. I thought we're just getting to know each other. That's cool.
Yep.
I didn't know we were
anything
recording.
you don't want in there?
No, hell no. That's probably the way the first recording.
Well, yeah,
I would think.
Right. Sometimes when I start, when I do a countdown with other guests, it doesn't work out so well because it makes the guests get nervous. And then, so usually right when I'm getting on, I hit record and then I just let the conversation go.
Well, this was the best. I mean, we got to know each other here. At least I got to explain.
That was super fun. Thanks for being on Almost Above Average, man. That was a lot of fun. Everybody check out Paul Hogan, J. Paul Hogan, Horgan. Shoot, I can't even read. J. Paul Horgan on YouTube as the, what is it called? The poem painter. The poem painter on YouTube. You have a website too, which is jpaulhorgan.com. That's his website. Do you post your events and your shows that are upcoming on there?
And that wraps up another inspiring episode of Almost Above Average. A huge thank you to J. Paul Horgan for sharing his incredible journey and insights with us today. His passion for creativity and his stories remind us the power of art and the connection in our lives. If you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did, I invite you to help spread the word. Please take a moment to give us a 5-star review, like this episode, and share it with your family and friends. Your support means the world and helps us continue to highlight the fascinating experiences of our guests. You can find JP's website and YouTube channel linked in the show notes, so be sure to check those out for more amazing work. Don't forget to follow Almost Above Average so you never miss an episode filled with insights and inspiration. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, keep seeking out the extraordinary in your everyday life.